Yo, what is up and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to do 4 great NBA players who are playing in the wrong era. I don't know how I'm going to upload these, but these are going to be for the 9 days that I'm gone. I'll probably say something about it in every video just so you guys know. So all these are pre-recorded way in advance. Like this is, right now it is 5/20/2019, and I'll be uploading these like from June 7th to around the 16th, 15th. But anyways, I'm going to start off with this one. 4 great NBA players who are playing in the wrong era. This is something I saw in my recommendation, and I definitely want to go ahead and check it out.
And
let's
really,
just jump straight into it.
Basketball, as we all should know, is constantly evolving. Like the game in 2019 is completely different than even the game in 2014 or 2013 because it's just completely different. Players in like 2012, like Dwight Howard, they were viewed as superstars back then. They actually had trade value. They actually were getting max contracts. Nowadays, a player like Dwight Howard barely can get significant time on a team or actually play down the fourth quarter stretch because they're not as valuable as they once were. I guarantee.
And the reason they're not is because of the three-point line, in my honest opinion. The game's not made for big men anymore. They don't really want a big man. They don't want no 7-footer, 7'2". They want someone about 6'8", 6'7", around there 6'9", that can just run the court and they can shoot the ball. I mean, that's just the truth. No one really plays the inside game anymore.
I guarantee you, about 25 years ago, Michael Jordan would have never imagined checking a player like Giannis Antetokounmpo, that's 7 foot, coming up and down the court,
can run the ball,
facilitating, dribbling the ball, doing the things that he's able to do at that size. Because most 7-footers that he's seen, they're on a block waiting for a point guard to get him the ball. They never thought they would see a 7-footer dribbling, shooting 3-pointers, doing all this great stuff that Kevin Durant is able to do because it just wasn't a thing. The NBA is constantly evolving. Just as little as 5 years ago in 2014, they were shooting closer to 25 3-pointers a game as a league average. Nowadays, they're shooting closer to 40 3-pointers a game. So you can just see the NBA, it's never stopped evolving, and it's never going to. And I think in that process, it's kind of made a few players in today's league, even a few quote-unquote stars, look a little dinosaurs because they haven't really been able to adapt to the new style of play. And just a quick plug-in, if this is your first time around this channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. It's free. I post around.
Yeah, the link will be down below.
If you want to check my also don't have my post notifications on. Like I said, man, that hurts my heart. Just do it for me. It's free. Do all that great stuff, guys. It helps me out a ton.
Alright, so let's see this.
Now, the first player on this list, and this is really in no specific order, but the first player on this list is Andre Drummond. Now, I'm sure a lot of you probably don't even think twice about a player like Andre Drummond. Like, unless you're a Detroit Piston fan or you actually support the Pistons in any way, shape, or form, Andre Drummond is probably not relevant to your basketball life in no shape or form. But Andre Drummond, since his second season, hasn't averaged less than 13 rebounds per game. Like, think about that. He's never averaged less than 13 rebounds per game since his rookie year. And the reason that I say he's playing in the wrong era is because the Pistons, to me in general, are a mess because they have 2 big guys as their primary quote-unquote stars. And in my opinion, I always say this, in today's league, you need shooters and playmakers. And I don't think Blake Griffin or Andre Drummond can really play-make for anybody besides themselves. Now, actually, I'm going to take that back just a tiny bit because I think Blake Griffin, he can a little bit, but you can tell he's working on it. It's not really natural because he's not really a natural guard. It looks stiff. It looks weird. But as for Andre Drummond, he needs somebody to basically get him the ball or alley-oop. And even his post moves aren't swift. They're not smooth. He's not the smooth. He doesn't have the best post moves, so he's still learning in that aspect.
What Blake Griffin is doing, I think he's trying to expand his game, which is good. He was known for just booming over everyone, and now he's actually working on his handles. You can tell he's working on his, his court vision, his basketball IQ by trying to make better passes, trying to make smarter shots. He's working on his jump shot a lot. So I definitely think he's trying to improve into a better player.
His game is just outdated. The only reason that I feel like he would be very well suited in the 90s or even the early 2000s is because he's a huge body. Like, he's probably about 7 foot, 320 pounds. So basically his presence alone can battle players like Shaq, Jermaine O'Neal, Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, players, those big guys, because he is huge. Now offensively he might not give you much, but his size, he can be very valuable to a team. And when it gets down to the fourth late quarter stretches, he won't have to sit out because he actually would have a real assignment in guarding another star center. But nowadays, centers aren't really significant in the NBA right now, so he's pretty useless. And I wouldn't say he's useless if he actually had a shot, any type of shot, a 10-footer, a 15-footer, anything, but he really doesn't even have that. He's shooting better from the free throw line, but you can tell he just doesn't really have a real organic offensive game, and for that reason I feel like his game is a lot, dinosaurus. And yeah, I didn't make up that word, but I just look at a player like Andre Drummond, like imagine giving him a max contract as an organization. Like, yeah, he's gonna get you a ton of rebounds, but offensively he ain't gonna do a damn thing. So what are you really bragging about? Where it matters most, he really can't be effective. He might get you a rebound or slap a ball to a playmaker, but he's not doing much, and that's why he's a dinosaur. Now the next player on this list might even surprise some people, but it's actually DeMar DeRozan. Now DeMar DeRozan still can be effective in the NBA. This list doesn't mean that you can't be effective or you can't be a good player. I'm just saying their games will be better suited for the earlier eras of basketball. That's all this list is saying. But DeMar DeRozan hasn't...
I know the number one thing he's probably going to say is his shooting ability and just the way he plays with the mid-range shot. I think that's what he's going to probably bring up. Let's see.
Quite developed the three-point shot the way I thought he would.
Right there.
If you really can't contribute in that aspect of the game, at times you can look like an ancient player. Like I remember in series where they used to play Cleveland, and Cleveland would go on this run hitting threes. LeBron, Kyrie, Kevin Love, all the shooters they had around. And I don't think Kyle Lowry or DeMar DeRozan can really stop the bleeding with a big three themselves, because it wasn't really their game. And if their intermediate game isn't falling, and that's pretty much where DeMar DeRozan lives, then they almost become ineffective when the game is actually becoming a lot three-point dominant. Even this
today's
year,
game is literally
run,
and shoot threes.
It's because DeMar DeRozan can't hit threes. Like this season, he shot 18% from beyond the arch. He wasn't really shooting them because I feel like Greg Popovich, somebody had to tell him to stop shooting because he really didn't shoot. And the Spurs, when the Spurs were great, the Spurs actually started this whole three-point saga. Like the Warriors enhanced it and made it like blow up with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, basically looking like the pioneers of it. But the Spurs in 2014, they blew the Heat out because they had so many shooters with Patty Mills, Tony Parker. They had shooters everywhere, and LeBron just couldn't handle it because it was too much. So if DeMar DeRozan can't
look at
give
that
you that,
ball movement,
he can give you is an intermediate game, then the Spurs will never go far in the Western Conference where they have a team like Golden State dominating from that aspect of the game. Now, I'm not saying Michael Jordan couldn't be great in this era, but Michael Jordan didn't have to worry about the plethora of players that can hit threes, and he has to actually stop the bleeding at times to hit them himself because that wasn't the 90s game. And I feel like DeMar DeRozan, if he didn't have to worry about that, and he can actually just focus on two-pointers, and he can just match his twos with other teams' twos, and threes weren't that significant, then he can probably be a superstar in the NBA. But the way the league is revolved around today, with Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron has developed his three-point shot. If he can't hit it consistently,
LeBron has worked on his three-point shot a lot
he almost becomes that
recently.
second-tier player for life unless he develops that shot. His mid-range game, like I said, is almost perfect, and that's why I think maybe in the early 2000s, late 90s, he would be a superstar, and he can actually maybe even contend for titles, but not being able to hit a three.
100%.
That's not going to work in today's era if you're a quote-unquote superstar. Now, number 2 on this list is definitely going to get the dislikes, if anybody on this list, because it's Russell Westbrook, one of the most loved players in the NBA, and this is not a bad
His shooting's terrible.
I just think maybe
at times, I'm going to go ahead and give my opinions on him. He's not the greatest shooter, a three-point shooter. He makes terrible mistakes sometimes. But I feel like something about him that I really, really like is that he gives it his all every time. And I feel like just back in the day, he would be perfect, to go up against the other star player and just play great defense on him, actually give him a great matchup and stuff like that. For today's game, he's so out of control. He tries to be so fast-paced. Like, I know he can do it, but look how many turnovers and just dumb plays he makes towards the ends of the games when he needs to just slow down and take his time.
Years of the NBA, he would be suited a lot better. And Russell Westbrook, as we know, he can score. Russell Westbrook, he can be effective. He's a triple-double machine. He can win certain games, based off his triple-doubles. I think his triple-double win percentage is extremely high. So Russell Westbrook can be an impactful player in this league. But like I said about DeMar DeRozan, his shot from the outside the arc isn't that consistent, and he can't really hit it to stop the bleeding and extend the lead.
I agree.
And you literally just seen this guy lose a series because Damian Lillard was just a way better and more efficient shooter, and that's where Russell Westbrook struggles because he's not a really, really good shooter. Like, he can get to the lane, he can drive, he can get assists basically from his presence
100%.
because he's such a force inside. But outside, anywhere outside the perimeter, he's not really effective. So teams, they don't have to dial in on that. I am not a coach, and I never will say I am. I know I like basketball, and I think I got a good understanding of basketball. But I guarantee you, any NBA coach would tell you, game planning for a player like Russell Westbrook is a lot easier than game planning for a player like Damian Lillard, Stephen Curry, most definitely, maybe even Kyrie Irving, even though Kyrie's a little sporadic at times. But game planning for Russell Westbrook, who's somewhat one-dimensional offensively because, like I said, he's so limited from the perimeter. He can't really be up there with the top dogs because of his inefficient shooting. So for Russell Westbrook, I think his game would just be a lot better suited maybe for the earlier era where three-pointers weren't so pivotal to games like it is right now. Now, number one on this list, and if you couldn't guess this, you probably saw the thumbnail, so you already know, Ben Simmons. Now, Ben Simmons, you don't even have to spend a lot of time on him. He can't shoot from outside. He can't shoot 5 feet
at
from
all.
the basket. So that's obvious why his game would be a lot better maybe in the early 80s or something like that. Ben Simmons, for him, I really can't even say that he can't shoot because his problem is he seems like he has demons in his head where he just won't shoot. Like, I can't say he can't shoot because the one time he does shoot, he misses a shot. Like, if Stephen Curry shot one three-pointer a game and he missed every single three-pointer for 82 games, I really can't say he can't shoot because he's not shooting it consistently enough for me to actually give that.
The thing about Ben Simmons, he said that he would play in like the 80s really good. I agree with that because what is he, like 6'10", I believe, 6'9", and his hooks, his inside shot is really good. Like his hooks, his post moves, and his just awareness with like his ability to pass the ball is incredible. It's like he has eyes in the back of his head. He's a great passer, and he's a very good post scorer, I guess you could say. But anything else, he's not that good. His defense is okay. I feel like he's just a little too small to play down low, and I feel like the guards are just a little quicker than him up front. But he's decent. I'll give him that. I think what he said of playing in the 80s is perfect.
Ben Simmons doesn't shoot threes, so we don't know. So maybe playing in the 80s with Dr. Julius Erving and players like that, maybe he would be a damn superstar back then. But playing now where, these guys are hitting three-pointers and they can hit mid-range shots and he won't even attempt them, his game is extremely limited. And once again, not saying Ben Simmons can't be effective because, as we all know, Ben Simmons, he's an all-star. He's a triple-double threat every time he's out on the court. And sometimes he can have games where he seems like he's pretty much taking over, not even shooting. But at the same time,
the grant gives companies the ability to bring people in like myself. We can bring you in and we'll teach you. My name is Jonathan Blake. I work at Custom Concrete as a layout crewman. I had a family that I needed to take care of. And I was really just thinking, I need to find something quickly.
We didn't have enough
Everybody's
people
gotta make
in the
money.
field to be able to produce.
Go ahead and watch.
There's a lot of people that are willing to work. They just simply don't have the skill set needed to fill those jobs.
If I hadn't have gotten trained, my family would be much worse off.
crunch time where you need a basket, sometimes you just need those superstars that can just go get a bucket. That's what Kevin Durant can do. That's what LeBron James can do. That's what most superstars in this league historically could do. So if he can't do that, I'm sorry, he's not going to ever be what he was probably drafted to be. And I'm not saying Ben Simmons was drafted to be some type of scoring machine, because we all know he wasn't. But Ben Simmons was drafted. He was drafted to be a team revolutionizing type of player. So if he can't, shoot, his team is never going to get past the second or third round, and that's not going to be that if he can't get past the second or third round. That's why I said he needs to develop some type of offensive game. That's the video, though, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, these are just 4 players, in my opinion, that their games will be a lot better suited maybe for the 80s, 90s, or even early 2000s. If you guys like the video, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys follow all my social media sites. Do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, stay tuned.
Alright, that was a very good video, by the way. If you want to see the original video, first link down below. Swish out. It was a very good video. Like I said, I agree with pretty much everything you said. Nowadays basketball is, run and gun. You got to be able to shoot the 3. pretty much got to be able to guard whatever. You got to play wherever. There's really no 7-footers, and if there are 7-footers, they're just insanely talented with being able to score and move like just 6-footers, like Giannis and Kevin Durant. Man, they play. They're not true 7-footers, as in like a Yao Ming or a Shaq. Shaq and Yao Ming, they were down low, back in the day. There's a ton of them, of course, but nowadays, if you're like a 7-footer, you're pretty much still made to shoot the ball. Like, just the way it is. And I agree with everything you said. Very good video, so definitely go check them out. And again, hopefully you guys did enjoy this. Enjoyed my reaction. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Click on the bell so you know when I post. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.